Sure, yeah.
Well, hello. You are watching the Pure Passion Biz podcast with Akua Hinds, and I am Akua Hinds, and I'm here with Amanda Russell Boyd. And Amanda is a very multi-talented individual. She is a independent business owner. She is a founder of and a co-founder of the networking groups. She is a advocate for legal services. She does a lot of wonderful things. Amanda, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. And thank you so much, Akua, for having me on your podcast today. Super excited to be here. And you've been an awesome supporter of all the things that we do for networking and all the stuff that we do out there. So thank you so much for supporting us throughout these years. And this opportunity is fantastic.
Oh, thank you. You are most welcome. So, as you know, Amanda, but what the viewers may not know is that I am a member of in fact, I'm a member of Jelly Social and I'm a member of the Weekend Network. So, I'm a member of
Yeah,
both of
that's
your
so
networking
good.
groups. Yes, and we met over 10 years ago at in person events before you started your own networking group. So, can you tell me what are the benefits that open networking provides that cannot be achieved in closed networking situations?
I would say the ability to meet with just more interesting people. You're not limited, right? In terms of like if that person's categorized in that industry. I appreciate what the closed networking groups are doing in terms of making it more of an exclusive spot, depending on the area or like the service or business or product that you offer. So you know that, okay, yes, you have this one spot, but I just don't like the rig, rigidness,
Rigidity. Yeah.
rigidity. Yes, the rigidness of like just having that. Like I feel like you're, kind of boxed in terms of who you can network, and he doesn't open up new opportunities to meet other people, which I'm always a fan of. I just love meeting different people from different backgrounds. So while each group has its strengths and weaknesses too, and I mean, depending on what your goal is to achieve in whatever networking group you're going to, I found with the open networking group, it's more, I don't know, friendly. I find it just a warm environment that you can connect with just more people from different backgrounds, different areas, similar services, and it gives people an opportunity to even connect with the similar industries, have that talk that can help you in whatever industry you're in to support you, because that's person in the same industry, whether it be insurance, real estate, mortgage, legal, whatever. But that way it's like, hey, we can like talk to each other, mastermind, see what's working for each other, and then use that as a strategy in our business. And on the other side, if you're meeting everybody, then you have option to connect with somebody that you kind of jive more with, right? Because let's say you're, in a closed group and you have this other person in the group, like a realtor, but you're just not jiving with the realtor. Now you're like, oh crap, now I have to do business with this realtor because it's like kind of expected to do the
Right.
referral base, right? But I'm like, well, if I'm not like, taking on to the personality really well, then again, I don't know. I think it kind of limits me, and it doesn't put me into a good space there. Like I just like the freedom, I think. And that was one thing I took away from that.
Oh, I fully agree with that. I think that um, closed networking groups, they expect you to treat the networking group like it's another job. They
Mhm.
expect you to show up and be there every single week. If they meet weekly, or if it's twice a week, then it's twice a week. But usually it's weekly. And if you miss an event, then you have to account for that absence,
Right.
which I find very limiting too. I think that networking should be taken seriously. It should be something that people enjoy doing, but I don't feel that people should have to be monitored when they network in that way, and expected to go out and find referrals for people who really they're just getting to know. And I think
Yes.
a referral should come naturally after you've spent that time connecting with someone.
And I like that. And this is where, especially now that we built, like, the networking groups that you've been a part of, where we can network and Jelly Social. So doing that for the past 8 years, and I went to like every networking group out there just to see what works, what I liked. and took all the best points from it and then brought that into our groups. And I just love the flexibility of being able to meet with people. And, we all have demanding schedules. So some weeks I can't attend certain meetings and like the time. So at least you can, I'll say make it a point, especially if you're attending networking groups, to go on the regular, right? But with
Yes.
the flexibility of the open groups, it's like you're not committed per se to it. You're not held to it and like feeling bad about it or shunned or shamed if you don't show up
Yes.
and like produce these referrals. I'm like, no, man, that's just too much pressure. And it takes away the fun and the organicness, I think, of really meeting with people and building those relationships. Cause that's what all starts first. Like networking is all simply relationship building. And then, sure, the sales and the clients and everything else will come. But I think it's like relationships and collaboration. And then let's build on that and then see where business takes us.
Most definitely. I agree wholeheartedly. What are some misconceptions that you've come across about networking?
I know what some misconceptions are like, the old days where you go into a room and you push the cards in front of people, where you go into a room and be like, networking is all just like selling. Networking, you have to be like have a product or a service that you need to go out there and be able to present. That you have to be this confident, personal, like speaker, a good person to speak in front of the room. That you're going to meet a whole bunch of people that you're like, I don't know if I'm going to really like jive with these folks. I don't know. There's like, I know what with me, before I got introduced to networking world, I was like, what the heck is networking? I'm like, so you're telling me that people just like willingly go out there and meet in like various events and rooms and just like share what they do and like really put themselves out there? That was like so interesting coming from corporate. And I was like, wow, okay, but it sounds awesome. So that's why I'm like, let me go in there and really learn this model and how it works, because it's a people business at the end of the day. Everything we do is all about people. And again, building those relationships, right? And that's where I was like, wow, networking is great, but taking away from those common misperceptions that you have to be this expert and know everything and come with all the confidence. I think throughout the years, I'm still nervous to speak in front of a room, and it's been 8 years, right? So, I mean, public speaking is the number one fear. And now the days of the pushy sales card business is gone. Like if you come into like a room trying to push your card or your business, it's just so like like a bad taste, right? You don't want to connect with those people. So and it's just too forceful. So I think just becoming friendly, smile on your face, and that just be your authentic self, and that's where you really show up.
I think that's wonderful advice. I mean, I first started networking in the year 2009. How I even got started with it was someone who I had signed up with the business that I had selling relationship enhancement products and romance products. When I asked her, how do I let people know? Because she lived in Alberta. She's the first person I signed up under. And then I signed up under someone else later on. But I'd asked her, um, I think it was 2009 when I did, or it might have been a couple of years before. But I asked her, how do I get the word out about my business? She said, well, is there a women's group you can join or something like that? I'm like, oh, well, I'll look around. And so I looked online for networking groups, and that's how I found out about them. But there are people who, when they think of networking, they may think of closed networking groups,
Right.
like BNI, for instance, and that
Yes.
might be their only experience. But there are a lot of open networking groups worldwide that are conducted in person and virtually, like the Happy Neighborhood Project, which we both
Yes.
also attend, and your groups as well, which are absolutely fantastic. And what tips do you have for people who haven't networked for a long time, or maybe they stopped networking, but they want to restart, or somebody who's new to networking? What should they have prepared for when they interact with others? Because you said, the shoving business cards at people can be seen as pushy. I agree. Should they have an elevator pitch prepared, or should they have something prepared? What do you think?
Yes, and I think that's important too, because that 60-second elevator pitch of who you are, what you do is like so important to introduce yourself and making it memorable, right? And just what's setting you apart from everybody else, especially if you're in an industry that's very saturated at like the various networking events. And you
Mhm.
just want to make sure that whatever you say or do, like, you come, I think that being real authentic with your messaging and in your messaging, what you're doing to solve a problem or help people, because at the end of the day, we're all about what's in it for me, right? So when people are listening to you, they're like, okay, what's in it for me? So like with in the terms of like Legal Shield, when I say, hey, I broker lawyers. So like, what the heck is that, right? So I was like, put a conversation starter out there. And while looking for networking groups, I would say pick 2 or 3 groups that you really want to build into. Try out various groups first. See that which community you love the most. Like it kind of fits your personality, your vibe, what you're looking for, and a community that's going to truly be there to support you. Every community, I know with the closed ones, there's like money that's involved and whatnot. So again, what is your budget, right? At the end of the day, it is a networking is a business expense, so you can write that off. So that's one thing. If you're looking to generate additional expenses, networking is a great platform because then you could use that as a way to like generate leads, right? And say, hey, it's my lead generator, I'm networking and doing this. But then join a couple, like right now, because we're in this hybrid world, right? We're online, we're offline, trying to really get back to events, going back in person. But find some, while you're at home, find some online groups that you can plug into. My goal is to attend at least 2 to 3 networking events a week. And I want to meet and set appointments with at least 2 to 3 people a day. So that way, every day I'm meeting with at least 2 new people that I can learn from, also share what I do, and then see how we can collaborate. And that's the whole point, and I think goal of networking is really to meet other people and just see how we can genuinely help each other. And at any networking event, my strategy is no matter how many people in the room, I just want to walk away with 2 solid connections. If I walk away with 2 to 5 or more, great. But if I can walk away from each event with 2 solid connections, and I'm making sure that you book the appointment, because as they say, fortune is in the follow up, right?
Yes, it is.
So I know I was really bad for that. Like we host Mad Jelly events and I'm like, oh my gosh, like we have like 30, 40 people in a room and I never made the time to meet with the people. Yeah, I would see them at a networking event, but then doing this kind of one-on-one conversation, you really get to know that individual more, why they started the business, what they're doing in their business, how I can be a better supporter of their business, and vice versa. And then we naturally want to help each other. So, and then you become top of mind, right? Because at the end of the day, I
Absolutely.
think we're all about being connectors, and being a connector and that influence is huge because people are just looking for that connection. So we can go out there and simply be connectors and saying, hey, how can I help connect you to somebody that's going to help you? That is a great goal. So, a couple of strategies, and then I would hope to follow up and then stay plugged in. So keep going. Once you find those 3 groups, 2, 3 groups, just plug in, whatever it is, because keep showing up, because that's how people are going to start to like the whole know you, like you, trust you, right? And the more you show up, the more you'll build your community, and you have a whole new family and network of people that you can now use as a resource, support, mentorship, collaboration, have accountability, and you never know what will kick off, from those encounters.
Absolutely. I mean, whether somebody's business is local or global, there is a way to just help to use those connections to build relationships, build friendships, build connections, be referral partners to each other as well.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody might already be connected to somebody who does what you do, but maybe you could be a referral partner for them and they could be a referral partner to you in another way too. And that's really great because I know you do a couple of different things. You're also an event planner as well. So that's great. So if there's somebody who is a client of somebody else in your business with Legal Shield, then there's something else they can refer you to, or they can invite people to come to your events, right? Which is
Yes,
great.
well, actually, on that note, that's a great example because I met a gentleman just through connecting on LinkedIn, right? And that was my other tip. It's like really make sure when you're networking with these people, I now see this huge value of LinkedIn now that I've been utilizing more. Every
Mhm.
person you meet, add them to your LinkedIn profile and then develop that business relationship. And so I've been connecting with more people in the US, and I met a guy that's actually from Florida and he was in Legal Shield. And hey, we just met and he gave me some great nuggets in terms of like how he's building his team culture in the Florida market. And took away so many strategies and like learnings just from that conversation, right? So even though we're in the same industry, him sharing that, and now I'm like, hey man, if I have people in Florida, that he can help me support that team out there and vice versa. So again, all back to collaboration and the education component, because he schooled me on a bunch of things. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I need to implement this in Canada. So
Absolutely. And that's a great benefit is that with LegalShield, I mean, it is in Canada and in the United
mm,
States. So, that's a fantastic thing that you can network with people and team build and, to build a team of customers as well. We're going to refer you as well, obviously, in both countries. And you can do that with LegalShield, right? And
you
you can,
can, yeah, that's what
yes,
I love about it. Like I can cross
yes.
border, we can go Canada and the US. So we're all North America wide here to help on that level.
Yes. And I like that. And that's one of the things that I like about my business too, selling or the relationship enhancement products is that, we're in a couple of different global markets and I can build a team of customers there. Also, my dating websites are international. I really like being able to connect with people wherever they are. And that's
Mm,
one of the benefits of networking in groups like Happy Neighborhood Project,
yeah.
your group as well. It's not just open to people in the GTA, right? Jelly Social is open to anybody, anywhere,
Yeah, let's
right?
go
And
global. Yeah, that's why I love Happy Neighborhood Projects. I love the fact that you can go global, meet people all across the world. It's always interesting to see what other people around on the other side of the continent's doing, right? So it's a great platform to be able to connect with more people.
I connected with someone this morning, Susie, and she's from the States, and we met in HNP. And I,
Nice.
I think I made a new friend as well. It's not just a business connection. I mean,
Yes,
just even just
nice.
connecting through, like we both said, yes, like let's support each other in friendship too, because
That's
that's what
awesome.
it's really all about. Not everybody has millions of dollars to spend each day on advertising, right? But networking and using platforms like LinkedIn and tip as well for anybody who is on LinkedIn, go through your LinkedIn profile, make sure that it looks really
Mhm.
good and up to date, and do that on a quarterly basis. Just make sure that it's reflecting you and your business the way that you want it to be seen. And using these platforms is a way of just staying current 24/7 like a billboard, right? It's there, it's constantly there. You see it with bus ads, you see them. But if you don't have millions of dollars each day to spend on those types of advertising tools, networking is a great way to build relationships and to promote what you're doing.
It
So
is.
is there a special event that totally changed your mindset and totally changed the way that you do things?
Oh man, there was one that I went to back in the day. Oh, I used to have something. It's like I think it was called the Millionaire Mind, and I had this deck of cards if I could find it. It was so good. But that really helped set the stage because I really tried to get my team to go to this. Oh, yeah, it was like Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I don't know if you could see that.
Okay, yeah. I can see it a little bit.
But it was a great like 3-day event, and that really broke a lot of like the barriers that was maybe holding me back. And what's nice is I was able to go with my team, and we were put into like networking groups, like they call like little beehives. And we had to like go to each hive, connect, share with them, and then we had to like find a person that did this, and then we got sent a bee out to come back. But it was a really cool activity, and it made us really break down a lot of our thought patterns, our associations with like different things, money being one of them, family, whatever those
Right.
limiting beliefs were. And it gave me opportunity to meet some incredible people at these networking events. And at that seminar, it was a mind shift, right? In terms of how I thought about myself, my business, working with my team, my relationship with money. And like I think a lot of those things are so important, especially as going into entrepreneurship. If we come from the job world and we're not, taught, no one's taught to be an entrepreneur, that
That's
is a whole
true.
new life skill, right? That we have to develop. And networking is a huge component, especially if you're introvert, that you don't want to go out there and meet people. Like that's a huge thing that you have to overcome for yourself to be able to put yourself out there in front of people now and excuse me, have these conversations and being vulnerable. So I think like an event like that and networking and as a whole, I think the more that you go to any networking group, it helps you with your belief level, it helps you with your confidence level, it helps you with introducing yourself, right? Because you really you'll have a couple different introductions. I know my introduction has changed and switches up throughout the years, but
Mm.
then you tweak it and to refine it until it becomes yours. And I know at HMP event today, the one gentleman made a comment. He's like, "Wow, like I loved your introduction, right?" And I was like, "Oh, thank you." But I don't even think about it anymore. I just spit it out now. Just like this just becomes part of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, that is great. And it's true. Sometimes we need to practice our introductions, or some people call them their elevator pitch
Yeah.
or their infomercial. Sometimes we need to practice them in the mirror a couple of times
Yeah.
so that it feels natural. So that
Yes.
when people
Yes.
ask us, what do you represent, or what do you do, or what are you passionate about, we can
Yeah.
tell them. Um,
Yeah, and you don't sound scripted.
uh,
And saying it enough times where you don't sound like you're reading from a paper, because then people kind of like lose attention. I don't know what it is, but like if you're really engaging with your message, that helps.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. It is important to you want whoever you're interacting with, you want them to feel like all of your attention is on them and that
Yes.
they're the only one in the room. And that when you're sharing with them, it's because you want to connect with them and you want them to know about you, not out of some mercenary reason, but just because you want to connect with them, and they'll appreciate that and they'll respond in kind, right? And they will, refer you because
Mhm.
they feel like you're somebody who really cares, and it's important to really care too.
Oh, 100%. And people know, they could feel it, right? Even though we're on screen, that's why I miss the energy of being in a room of people. And like the body language, all of that is like, a difference. Like, and that would be one thing too. When you go to networking, don't like cross up your arms, like have them down, have them ready to like converse, be open, be friendly, be willing to have a conversation. And approach different
Absolutely.
people. Don't keep going back and talking to the same people. If you don't know those people in the room, make it a point to go meet those people instead of talking to the people you're comfortable with.
Absolutely. And it's important to figure out who you want to align with, but don't make assumptions that
Yes.
that somebody who might be talking about a business who you may not be interested in, but you never know. The two of you could connect, and the
Yeah.
two of you could be referral partners. You just never know unless you get to know someone, right? What do you what do you think? Traditional business cards or digital business cards? What do you think is better?
Oh man, I'm in such a toss right now because I'm like, I ordered business cards just recently just to have it. So I'm just like, because I do want to get back to personal events. But then if you talk to some people, they're like, man, they're all about the digital card. So I think in this day where we are, we need to have both. Because sometimes people want to be like, hey, do you have a card? And then I can just hand them a card really quick and be like, yeah, here you go. And I like cards where it has a white back so I can write down notes about the
That's a
person
great
if I
tip.
met them. Yeah, and I mean, I have a binder from all our networking events, stacks on stacks of cards where we used to flip, and I'd have people put their cards into the binder.
Yes, I
And
remember
remember,
that.
yeah, and you could
Yes.
put your cards, pull out the cards of the people you want to meet. So that was cool. But now that we're on the digital age, and because our networking is online, it's all about the digital business card. And right now, it's just sending the information. And what I do too is save your information on the phone. And what I do is I text them my contact card. So I'm like, hey, can I just grab your information? I get their phone number and then I'll text them my card. So save your information on the phone and just text it to them, or have that QR code where people can scan it and pick it up and put it in their phone. So it's still, I think at this stage of the game, we will need both. Some folks, depending on who you meet, like the traditional, I want to hold a card. The other person, they're like, hey man, I don't do cards. So just send me their digital card. And that's where we have to move to. So find a digital card that you like and see which ones work.
Yes. So for those of you who may not know what a digital business card is, there are actual digital business card websites, and there are people who create a digital business card for you with all of your information. So you give them a link that's assigned to you, and it'll share all of that information. Now, you can choose to go down that road or not, right? If you want to just your email signature, that could be your digital business card, right? So if you want to put all your contact information in there, that could be it. Or your website or your LinkedIn, that could
Yeah.
be like a digital business card too. But I do think that there's always going to be a place for traditional business cards as well. But I have seen more and more of that. Even my consultant who I buy Mary Kay products from, right? I mean, I told her, oh, I want to refer you to some other people. Can you send me some of your cards, right? And she said, oh, you know what? Just give them my website link. That's going to be, that's
That's her
just how
way.
she wants to do it. And that's
Yeah,
fine. That's fine. But
exactly.
yes, no, your card, so my tip that I just want to, before we go, I want to share with everybody is that my tip for when you're networking is always have some cards with you.
Mhm.
Even though we are in that age of where digital business cards, they're really something that a lot of people are flocking to, and I think they're great. I think you just never know when you're
Mhm.
quickly connecting somebody, you're meeting with somebody, and you don't really have time to give them your digital business card, especially when you're meeting face to face. Just pass them your card. Have at least 10 cards of yours on
Right.
you at all times. And before you sign up to become a member of a networking group, go as a guest first.
Mm.
That's my tip for people who are trying networking out for the first time. There are a lot of groups out there and they all have, great things to offer, but we can't say yes to everything and we can't attend everything.
Mhm.
It's really key to join a group that, like Amanda said, shares your values and it has people who you feel a connection with. You feel like there's a warm, friendly community. So go as a guest first before you dive in. Just put your toe in the water and test the waters first. Go as a guest and then decide if you want to become more involved, especially if it's a closed networking group where there's going to be an expectation of putting in a large time and money commitment. So, Amanda, Russell, Boyd, I want to thank you so much. And I will be seeing you, I think, in person and online
Woohoo.
for the Jelly Social events this month. I think so. I don't know if you're doing the in person. I'm not
Oh, yes, yes, I'll be there in person. And just a plug, if for those that are listening in, do join us. Check us out at jellysocial.ca and register for upcoming events. We do have our monthly event the fourth Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. We'd love to see you there. It is online, so anywhere, everywhere you can attend. Doesn't matter where you live or reside. Just come on out, connect with amazing people like Akua. And I think we've known each other, I swear, for the past 8 years.
I
You've
think
been there
it's
from like day one.
Yeah, but I think it's been longer. Like I've met you um in previous networking groups. But I
Yeah.
think it's been over 10 years now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
So
that's right. Oh yeah, because
yeah,
before I even started my group,
that's
we were going
right.
to these other groups. Yeah, because I've
That's
been in the
right.
legal field for 12 years. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That
That's
time
right.
has flown.
So I met you with those other groups, and when you told me that you started your own groups, I was like, oh well, I'll go to that.
Yeah, you've
That's
been
what I
amazing.
did.
Thank you for all your support throughout these years. It's incredible to see how relationships are built 10 years in
Yes.
the game, right? And we're here to still support each other and keep it going.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. So, check in with Amanda. All of her contact details will be in the description link as well. You can connect with Amanda's business partners as well through Jelly Social. I am a Jelly Social partner, very proud to be one. So, yes, connect. And this podcast is brought to you by PurePassion.biz. Shop life, blog life, love life at purepassion.biz. And you can connect with me at purepassion.biz and at akuahinds.com. And I'll leave my description. I'll leave my links in the description as well. I want to thank you so much, Amanda. You really have stepped in and stepped up and supported so many business owners. And I'm just very appreciative because I'm one of those people who you've been supportive to too. So thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. I'm more than happy to support anything I could do for you anytime. Please don't hesitate to call. And I'm so happy you've launched the podcast. I know when we first talk about it, to see it fruition is huge. So congratulations on the podcast and more to come. I know you're going to do a lot of exciting things.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And thank you to everyone who's watching. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.